Amber Michelle Hilberling, 19 years of age at the time of the incident, was married to Joshua Hilberling, 23 years of age. Joshua was an Air Force veteran who had been dismissed from the Army recently. Prior to moving to Tulsa, the couple lived in an Air Force base in Alaska. It has been reported the couple had a tumultuous relationship. Amber agreed with this statement, and added, "We just slowly started seeing how different we really were." She also described herself as a wild hare while Joshua was more of a modest, predictable type. According to court documents, a month prior to the incident, on the 10th of May 2011, Joshua filed an emergency protective order against Amber. He claimed she had thrown a lamp at him, which resulted in a cut that needed stitches and staples. The protective order was then dismissed 2 weeks later when the couple didn't show up to court. The incident. On the day of the incident, the couple was living in a high-rise apartment at the University Club Tower, in Tulsa, Oklahoma. According to Amber, plus other witnesses, the couple had a heated argument on that day. Moments later, Joshua decided to leave Amber and started packing his bags. Joshua's father, who spoke with him on the phone before he fell, said Joshua had told him he was leaving Amber and filed for divorce. Joshua asked his father for a ride, but he said he couldn't pick him up at that time. It's not clear what happened after, but at some point, Joshua plummeted from the window on the apartment building's 25th floor to the top of a parking garage 17 stories below. Amber claimed Joshua grabbed her shoulders to attack her, and to defend herself, Amber pushed him against his chest, making him lose his balance. Joshua stumbled backward, hit the window with his back, and fell to his death. Amber said she saw him falling backward. But her statement raised many questions. For instance, how come a small pregnant woman could push a stronger man back so hard that he would go through the window and fall down? A neighbor testified he heard the sound of steps rushing, and then he heard a crashing sound. Another witness, a glass repairman fixing a different window in the couple's bedroom, said he heard the crash, and moments later he heard Amber screaming, "I pushed my husband out of the window. I killed him." Then he and Amber descended to where Joshua's body was lying, and he said that Amber came closer to the body, turned him over, and said, "My husband fell out the window. I pushed my husband out of the window. I killed my husband." An investigator hired by the county district attorney said he believed Joshua was distracted doing something with the television when Amber rushed in his direction and pushed him. He also added that he believes she pushed him on purpose. Amber Hilberling was arrested on the charges of first-degree murder for the death of her husband Joshua Hilberling. The trial. To explain the restraining order Joshua had filed against her, Amber said that was Joshua the real aggressor, not her. In court, she insisted on her version of the incident and said she shoved her husband in self-defense and that he had tripped and fallen through the window. Jason Corns, the defense attorney, said that although a tragedy, there was no evidence that Amber had intentionally pushed him out of the window. Then he added that the real crime was the abuse committed against Amber at the hands of her husband. Quote, "Without getting into specifics, there is a long history of this man, 220-pound college football player, abusing this young woman, including throughout her entire pregnancy." Unquote. Jason Corns also added that there was proof that Amber had been a victim of domestic violence while the couple lived at Eilson Air Force Base in Alaska, prior to moving to Tulsa. Quote, "This is a 5'5", pregnant teenage girl, and it's kind of preposterous to listen to some of the things that are being said right now about how she can be an aggressor against a 6'4", 220-pounder. Unquote. A counselor expert in domestic violence was brought to the court to respond to the defense attorney's claims. Missy Iskey, counseling director at Domestic Violence Intervention Services, said regarding Jason Corns' allegations, "There is a number of men who are victimized by domestic violence, and even more common than that are couples that engage in violence where both people are participating in violence." The case trended online, and several Facebook groups were created to support Joshua and condemn domestic violence against men. Parallel to the self-defense strategy, in September 2012, Amber Hilberling filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the property management company and University Club Tower's management and maintenance staff. She claimed the window glass was not up to the City of Tulsa building code and was dangerously unsafe. The petition claimed that the glass was not thick enough, and the window lacked protective guards. The defense team planned to call the building inspector to testify in court and admit that the death of Joshua happened because the windows weren't up to the regulations. According to Oklahoma laws, second-degree murder can result in a sentence between 10 years and life in prison. The prosecutors didn't have a strong case, so they offered a plea deal to Amber. In exchange for a no-contest plea, Amber would have served 5 years in prison. Yet Amber rejected the plea deal and her case went to a jury trial. Witnesses were brought by the prosecutors who pictured Amber as a hysterical and distraught woman. Then the prosecutors presented photos to the jurors of the window and the victim. To prove Joshua was in the process of leaving Amber, pictures of Joshua's bags were also shown to the jurors, as well the fact that Joshua's mobile phone was not inside his pocket when he fell. The mobile phone was found next to him, which led the investigators to believe he was about to make a phone call at the moment Amber pushed him. While the prosecutors showed pictures of the corpse, Amber sat with her head down and never looked at the pictures. Patrick Hilberling, Joshua's father, testified on court and said Joshua called him the day he died. Patrick said Joshua told him he was leaving Amber and getting a divorce. Joshua asked him for a ride, but Patrick couldn't pick him up at the moment, so he suggested to him to call the Domestic Violence Intervention Group. The prosecutors said that Amber's statement of self-defense was not true because Joshua fell forwards, not backward as she claimed, which means he was pushed from behind. But the defense attorney insisted he fell backward. So the prosecutors brought the neighbor who heard running and a loud crash, followed by a woman screaming on the day of Joshua's death, to testify. He said that when he went out to his balcony, he saw Joshua laying face down on the parking garage, which supported the prosecutor's theory that Joshua was pushed from his back, not in his chest as she claimed. The defense team insisted on their strategy of self-defense, but questions were raised on how a 7-month pregnant woman could have mustered the strength to shove a much taller and athletic man through the window. So the defense refocused their attention on the fact the window was unsafe. The defense team called the building's repairman to testify. The repairman admitted that the window's glass was indeed too thin. But he also added that he believed Amber pushed him twice, once when Joshua broke the window with his body and a second time to make him fall. Among all the witnesses and evidences presented against Amber, the most damaging piece of evidence was a secretly recorded confession tape. This tape, done right after the death of Joshua, was recorded secretly from the interior of the interrogation room. This confession tape was obtained in a less conventional manner, yet legal according to the state laws. The investigators left Amber inside an interrogation room, and brought her grandmother inside so both could talk. With no warning or indication they were being recorded, the investigators then recorded the interaction with a hidden camera. In the tape confession, Amber admitted to having pushed Joshua while he was doing something to the TV.
They were right. They kept saying if we stay together, I'm gonna kill him. His bones were sticking out all over his body. His whole body was broken. And I just held him and kissed his cheeks and screamed for him to wake up. No, I'm a horrible person who could do that. Push my husband and make him fall out the window. I wish I could just go back and know that if I pushed him, it was going to happen.
Amber, quit saying you pushed him out the window. Did you intentionally?
No, of course not.
Okay, that's what they're going to take it as, baby. That's why I said.
I can't get the image of him go out of my head, him falling out the window. Why did Mom put us in that apartment? Why are we there? Why were we there? Why didn't I just leave? He was leaving. I kept just saying, and when he leaves, I'll go to my grandma's. Why didn't I just leave? He'd still be alive. All I kept seeing, like I just held his broken body over and over and over again in my head. Watching him flail and think that he, my last thought was, please catch yourself. And I just want to know what was going through his head. If he knew he was going to die. If he said a prayer, or if he cursed my name, or if he just thought that he could catch himself too. And then just watching him hit the ground.
Is there no balcony there from the living room?
No. I just have to... I just want to go back. Please, I just want to go back and just not push him, just catch him, something. At least if I can go back and take back the push, at least I can save him.
The push?
The push, I pushed him against the wall and he... Oh my God. At least I could catch him. I tried, but it was all so fast. And I just want to know what his last thoughts were. What could you think? What could go through your head when you're falling to your death?
Was he fixing to... Where was the candle things?
There's like these stand-up candle things like this high. They're just like little wire things, but he was fixing the TV. He was like messing with the TV right here. And the window's right here. And I pushed him and he fell into the window and fell. Oh God. I'm never gonna get over this. I'm never gonna understand it. Josh. Baby. I will never, ever forgive myself. I can't even begin to accept this. I want you to be here. Just come back, please. Please. I love you. I love you so much. I hope you are happy. I will spend the rest of my life paying for this. I look at this and I think of all this stuff on Josh. Everything was split open. You can see his bones and blood and guts. And he said, I've got all these options. He said, you want me? He kept saying, what do you want to do? And I said, please make your own decisions. And he said, okay, I will. He said, I want to work things out with you, but we need to be separated for a while. He had already talked to his dad.
He had done talk to him.
Yeah, he had just got off the phone with him. His dad was at work, so his dad was going to pick him up after he got off of work. That's why he was going with his friend. And he was on the phone with his friend, and he just hung up with his... I mean, I don't even know if he was on the phone. I don't know. I just...
Well, then you come out of the bathroom?
Yeah, he had dumped all my laundry out. And I was putting it all back in there. I just don't understand why. I just wish I could go back. And just have left.
Well, you gathered your laundry up when you fixing to go out the door.
Yeah, and I couldn't leave because the guy was in there measuring the window that Josh had broke.
Was all this going on with the guy there?
He was out on the balcony. measuring the window from the outside on the balcony, from the bedroom, and we were in the living room.
Oh. So it was somebody in the...
Yeah, so I couldn't leave because the guy was in there measuring the apartment.
Were y'all hollering and stuff?
No. We weren't yelling or anything. Josh was yelling, but not while the guy was in there.
Where was the guy? Had he left?
No, he was there when Josh
Still
fell.
there? He was still there?
Yeah, he was out on the balcony, and he heard me start screaming. I was screaming. Just screaming, running around. And I ran out the door to go down the elevator to go get Josh. And he came out and he was like, oh my God, he fell. And I was like, I know. I was like, I have to go get him.
The defense attorney pleaded for mercy, stating Amber was clearly in shock when she made the confession, and that her rambling should not be taken seriously because it only demonstrated the 4 stages of grief: shock, surprise, grief, and anguish. During the trial, some criticism was raised claiming Amber was enjoying all the attention she was receiving from the media. To which she replied that it was a ridiculous statement.
I mean, that seems ridiculous and a totally unsupported opinion because these people didn't live with me on a daily basis.
Amber's parents also came to her defense and said she was being unfairly depicted by the media. They also said they had letters from Amber explaining the reason Joshua was thrown out of the military was because he was using drugs. The sentence. On the 18th of March 2013, jurors found Amber Hilberling guilty of second-degree murder for the death of Joshua Hilberling. On the 23rd of April, 2013, the judge sentenced Amber to 25 years in prison. Additional to the jail time, Amber was also ordered to pay $10,000 for Joshua's funeral expenses.
Amber is innocent. Her side will be told.
We're never gonna stop.
And we will not stop until Amber is free.
No one's ever prepared for this. This breaks your heart. This was nothing more than a tragic accident.
The whole thing was a tragedy.
Our side's not been told, but it will be.
It's been unbearable, you know. I mean, we've lost a son. They've lost a daughter. Nobody really won, you know. But it's the hardest thing anybody has to go through.
The glass is really a side issue in this particular matter. What the focus is on the push. It doesn't matter whether the glass was strong, it doesn't matter whether the glass was weak. What it mattered is what was happening before the glass was ever impacted.
Despite the outcome, Amber affirmed not regretting having rejected the plea deal that would have put her in prison for only 5 years. She explained she had turned down the plea deal because she was innocent, and she was willing to take all the risks to prove it.
What I know to be true is no different today than it was when they offered me that 5 years. You know, I have to put my trust in one day I'll be able to say the things left unsaid and hope for something better.
The aftermath. On October 24, 2016, Amber Hilberling was found dead in her prison cell. Prison officials determined her cause of death to be suicide. Amber was 25 years of age. Amber's death was declared to be suicide by hanging. The fruit of the couple's relationship, a baby boy named Levi, has been raised by his maternal grandmother since the incident.
I believe that everyone has that one person in their life that you give your whole heart to, and there's no refunds or exchanges.